Okay guys, so the materials that you should have, that your parents should have brought you, is a piece of cardboard, the tracer that I made for you, that's a 6x6, already measured with everything that you need, the plastic needle, and 3 pieces of yarn. Now, you could use 2 pieces of yarn, you could use 1 piece of yarn, as long as you have yarn for this project. The only reason I said to use 3 pieces of yarn is so you can have a variety of color. Now, the tracer, the purpose of the tracer, so you can create your loom. The loom is what we're going to be weaving on, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put, okay, your paper somewhere over here, wherever it fits. My cardboard's a little messy, and that's fine. You're going to trace the square, as you've done in my class before, okay? And you're gonna pull it off. It's gonna look something like this. Now, the purpose of these little lines right here is so that you can know where you need to cut these little areas. I'll explain in a second, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go a little bit above here, and I'm gonna just basically copy what my tracer already has on. I'm gonna match those lines. You do not have to use a Sharpie. You can use a pencil. The purpose of the Sharpie is just so you guys can see it a little better. I'll leave it like that, right? Then I'm gonna flip it. Actually, I don't need to flip it because I did it for you on both sides. You're gonna go ahead and hold it, and you're going to go ahead and trace these lines so we can create our loom. The loom, again, is what's gonna be holding our yarn so you can create the weaving project that we're gonna do. After you do that, I know this is uneven in my case, it's not a big deal. What I do want you to do is you're gonna cut out the square, right? Whether you have a big piece of cardboard or not. Now, one of the complaints that I get is that my scissors aren't great and that you're gonna have a hard time cutting it. You're gonna have to put in some work because I don't have anything else. So you're gonna have to use that. You're gonna cut around it with scissors. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you a minute to do that so that I can do the same. After you cut it out, your loom should be looking something like this. Now, the next step is to pick your color. Now, the color I picked was this. I suggest you don't cut it out, just leave it like this for now, just so that it's easier for you to maneuver and you don't have to deal with measurements. Okay, so I'm gonna move this away because I don't need it anymore. We're just gonna need these 2 things. Now, for basic weaving terms, we're gonna be creating a warp. A warp, basically all that means is the direction that the thread is going, which is gonna be up and down, okay? Now, the first thing I want you to do is you're gonna grab the end of your yarn, okay? You're going to, you see these little slits here? That's where your yarn is gonna be going through, okay? Keep that in mind. So I'm gonna get my yarn, okay? The tip, right? Just about like maybe an inch, something like that. Hopefully my measurements are right. You're gonna pull it through, you're gonna pull it through, and you're gonna bring it in. So what it's gonna look like in the back is you're gonna have something that looks like that in the back, okay? You're gonna hold it, make sure you hold it. Okay, so we don't have to waste any time doing tape. You might get away with, if it's cardboard, you can get away with just not holding it, which actually I'm gonna do. I don't need to hold it, okay? If you feel like this is too short, let's actually bring it out a little bit, something like that, okay? The length, maybe something like that, all right? Okay. You're gonna have that dangly piece of string. It has a purpose, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in. If you feel like that string is moving, you just hold it, okay? So it doesn't move around. Now, I did my first loop here, okay? So all I did was, again, just to preface it so we don't get confused, we're gonna put it in through there. We're gonna go, pull it, and go around to that first one, okay? Now you're gonna grab that yarn, you're gonna bring it up over again, okay? To this one. It's gonna be like a loop. Bring it down, go to the bottom one. You're gonna keep doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it real quick. If it doesn't get tight around my shoe, we're gonna go all around, okay? All around. Let me stretch out my yarn a little bit. That's why I didn't want you guys to cut it, because you can kind of just do that, okay? I'm gonna use my right hand now to pull out my string a little more. Okay, bring it in, bring it in. Wherever you have a slit. In my case, I have an extra slit, and that's fine. I'm just gonna ignore that, okay? Now, it's gonna look something like this, okay? This is a warp, right? Now, I'm gonna flip it over, okay? You're gonna have this extra piece of string and this long extra piece of string, okay? Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie these two together, okay? It doesn't matter how you tie it in a bow, whatever you want, as long as it's tied up, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and snip somewhere. If you're scared, just snip it a little longer, just so you know that you could tie it. And I'm gonna go ahead and tie mine in a knot, okay? Hopefully it's easy for you guys because you had that extra piece of string and you left it a little bit long. You don't have to tie it in a bow, nothing fancy as long as it's tied. Wonderful. Now what I want you to do is I want you to flip it over. Now we're gonna be creating our weft. Our weft is gonna be going like this, all around our loom. Now, for the sake of creating some variety of color, I'm gonna go ahead and pick out another color. I'm gonna go ahead and just pick yellow. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring that out. Okay. Same thing, you do not have to cut it from your yarn just for the sake of not having to measure anything. We're gonna grab our needle, okay? We're gonna grab our needle, and we're gonna put it through here if it wants to fit. If it doesn't, just try again. Okay, pull it out, and you're gonna tie it. Doesn't matter how you tie it as long as it's tied. Sometimes it comes loose, you're just gonna have to tie it back on. Just like that. So we're gonna be doing something called a tabby weave, okay? A tabby weave has a specific pattern. Once you get the hang of it, it's gonna be a lot easier than you think. If you mess up, it's fine. I promise you it'll probably look pretty good anyway. So what you're gonna do is, let me also roll up a little bit of this string. It's kind of a disaster, but okay. Now the pattern that we're gonna do, it doesn't matter which way you wanna start. For the sake of my instruction, and since this is your first time, we're gonna go ahead and do under, over. Okay, what I mean by that is that your needle is gonna go under the string, under the first one, over the second one. Under, over, under, over, and so on and so forth. So again, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, okay, under. It's a little tight, but under and over, okay? So let's just pull. Okay, so that's the first pattern. I'm actually gonna, let me see. No, we don't have to bring it up. Let's just scooch it up here. And scooch it up a little bit with your fingers, and that is your first one. Now, I'm gonna start pulling it out a little bit so I could do the second one, okay? Now, because we went under, over, now we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna go over, under, okay? I'm gonna pull, 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 just to make sure I have a lot of yarn, okay? You could do the same, right? So I could have a lot of yarn to use. So I'm gonna go over, then under, over, under, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna bring it in, okay? Okay. Did I do that right? Under, over, under, okay. See, sometimes it happens to me too. I'm gonna bring it all the way in. Okay, it's gonna get caught here. You're gonna bring it all the way in, okay? If it's separated like that, you're gonna use your fingers, you're gonna push it in, okay? Just like that, right? You have that done. Now, in the weaving that I'm teaching you guys today, it's gonna be kind of like a size of like a coaster almost, like a little tiny blanket. And it's gonna have like extra strings on the side. So in order to do that, and I also wanna make sure it stays intact and doesn't come off. So we just did our first one. You're gonna do this for each and every one, so pay attention, it is important, okay? You see this extra string? We're gonna cut it, okay? And then we're gonna tie it. This makes sure that it's not gonna come off, okay? I prefer it this way. I just found it to be easier, less confusing on how to take it off later, etc. So I'm gonna tie, right? And now, we're gonna go ahead and do the next one, right? The string now is gonna be on this side. I will explain that in a moment, okay? I'm gonna use the same color because I do want a little bit more of this color. If you wanna change it, go for it, I don't care. It's up to you. I'm gonna choose the same color, okay? Same thing, okay? Let me see if I can get this to fit. Same thing, you're gonna tie it, okay? Let's get a bigger string. This is not great. So I'm gonna start over, get a bigger string, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do this, tie it, okay? Now, we started this first one on this side, okay? So use this as your guide. Now I'm gonna just start on this side, okay? Let's just start on this side. Now, over here, it ended with over. You can see it from the string being over the green. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go under now. Okay, the opposing. Always think of the opposing. So I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, over. Okay. You're going to see that it's going to kind of hit you guys later. Same thing. I'm going to kind of pull this here, pull it up. Leave some extra string hanging out here. Right. Now I left with under. So guess what I'm going to do? Opposite. I'm going to go over, over, under, over, under. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to pull it, right? Just like that. You see, let's pull it. Okay, ta-da. We're going to pull it up. And just the way we did with this side, we're going to snip. Okay, and tie, right? And tie. Now that you got that base down, you are going to mix and match the colors. If you want to do now yellow and another color, which I'm going to go ahead and show you one more time with another color so that we can stop this video and you guys can work on your own, right? So you can see, I'm going to choose the color red. Now, okay, just pick my other color, take this off. Put this through here if it wants to. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and start with our second one. Okay, so now we're gonna continue on with this next string and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go under, over. Because why? Because this one ended at over, okay? And like I said before, if you're confused on where to start, I like to do one side, one side, one side, one side. If you don't understand that concept, it's fine. Just make it work for you as long as you tie the end so it doesn't get loose, right? So I ended up at over here, so I'm gonna go under, over. Okay. I'm doing it very quickly because I've done this before. I know that you guys are new to it, all right? So we're gonna bring that in. Don't be scared to have a bunch of string. This just guarantees that you won't make any mistakes, okay? Now I ended at under, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go over. Okay, I'm gonna bring it in, okay? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get my scissors. I'm gonna snip here. I prefer this method personally because it just guarantees that your whole project isn't gonna fall apart. Okay, and then when you're ready after this one, okay, you're gonna start on this side, okay? And then you're gonna go under, over, under, over, all right? So it's as simple as that. You're gonna go all the way down. And once you finish that, let me go ahead and show you what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but so you get the idea, right? So you're gonna do the whole thing, change the colors how you want. It's your project. Now I'm gonna flip it over, okay? I'm gonna snip this, so don't stress that. I'm gonna snip this, okay? I'm going to snip this, turn it around. I'm gonna kind of cut here, okay? Okay. So then you can just pull it out. Just pull it out. Pull them out, okay? Obviously mine is not done, okay? Okay, so, let me not, there we go. Pull them all out. Okay, so in the end, it'll look something like this, right? Obviously yours is going to be much more full. So let's imagine that this is on both sides, okay? So what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to go ahead and, right? And tie these pieces here.